just your thoughts on Trace Jackson Davis, your first looks at him after last night's game.
Yeah, he's great. He's a first-team All-American. Obviously has earned that by averaging a double-double, scoring in an assortment of ways, helping his teammates play well. He's just a great player.
Here's second row, and then we'll go back there.
Michelle Kaufman, Miami Herald. Hey, Jim, what do you think your team learned from the game last night that they will carry over to the game against Indiana?
Well, the first thing I would say is they learned how good every team in this tournament is, even if you don't know them, don't know their personnel, you don't know their style of play until you get selected for the tournament. We were very impressed with Drake, very impressed with their defense. And I thought our guys' defense, stepped up. And that's what we've kind of shared with them all season long. The offense will take care of itself, but we have to defend, we have to rebound. If we do those two things at the defensive end of the floor, we should be competitive. But if we don't defend, if we don't rebound, we're in trouble.
Jim, Tom Bruce, Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. There's been this bit of national narrative all year that the ACC's been kind of down. We've obviously got an ACC Big Ten matchup coming up tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that? And you've obviously been through that for the last 3 months as to where that league is right now. And
yeah, I'm disappointed that the ACC is not given the respect I think it's due. I think we've got a great league. I think, we had the preseason #1 team in the country in North Carolina. Now, they did not have the year that people expected them to have, but they're still pretty darn good. So is Duke, so is Virginia. We got a lot of good teams. And this has nothing to do with our game tomorrow against Indiana. But if you go back to November, early December, the ACC won the ACC Big Ten Challenge 8-6. So I think the leagues are very comparable. And, hopefully we'll play well tomorrow and represent the ACC very well.
Dana O'Neill with The Athletic. Jim, there's obviously been a lot of conversation about NIL and players and whether it puts pressure on them. Your guys have gone through a lot of that, as has your program, very publicly. Have you sensed any pressure for your players and, by extension, how your program is perceived? Not
at all, Dana. Here's what I did, and this is how I handled it. First of all, my coaching staff and I have nothing to do with NIL. I use this analogy. I asked our players if they've ever seen Steph Curry in a Subway commercial, and everybody had. I said, okay, that's NIL. But Subway doesn't tell Steve Kerr how to run his Golden State Warriors team, and no one's going to tell me how to run my basketball program. When you come into the gym, you're going to be Miami players. You're going to play the Miami way. When you work with somebody else who's willing to sponsor you, great. That's like college basketball coaches that have shoe contracts. Hey, you can make some additional money. And that's what NIL was made to do, and that's what it's doing.
Go ahead.
Zach Osterman, Indianapolis Star. Just asking about Nijel and what has allowed him to fit in so easily with you guys. Obviously, he's from our area, had a really good game yesterday, but just what has allowed him to fit in so easily with the dynamic you have with so many guys averaging double figures in scoring?
Well, I'd say the first thing is family. His mom and dad have raised him right. He is a great kid, very fun to be around. He's a great teammate. The first day he arrived on campus, he and Isaiah Wong went into our practice facility, and by the end of their workout, they were best friends. They're both great kids, come from both great families, and we've tried to recruit players of that character. And I'd say every one of our guys, very, very much like Nijel, they like playing basketball. They like their teammates. And for the most part, they like their coaches. Not always, but.
Yeah, hi, Jim. Rick Bozich, WDRB in Louisville. In addition to scoring and rebounding, Jackson Davis is very good at passing and blocks. Do you debate in your mind the positives and negatives of double teaming him as you get ready to face Indiana tomorrow?
Yeah, you have to debate that. I've watched tape on what other teams have tried to do. He's an outstanding passer. I think he's averaging like 6 assists a game. He's a great rebounder. He's averaging double-figure rebounds. He's averaging 20 or more points in the tournament. I think in his last few games, he's averaging 25. So he's a great player. And as a coach who has to defend him, we've got to have plan A, plan B, and plan C. So we're going to be doing that. We did a little bit this morning with the team. We'll do it again tonight and then again tomorrow at our shoot-around.
Right up here, and then we'll go to the back.
Michelle Kaufman again from the Miami Herald. I'm wondering if you chatted with Isaiah Wong, and Isaiah and Jordan were both a little bit off for whatever reason. They're the two team leaders and usually calm and mature and all that, composed. What do you think happened? And did you talk to them? And do you worry that maybe they'll feel too much pressure to come out and redeem themselves tomorrow, or you think they're good for tomorrow?
One thing I know is I don't worry about those guys. They're terrific young men, terrific players. They didn't have their best game, but maybe they will tomorrow. Every game is different. Every opponent is different. The way Drake guarded them might be different than the way Indiana guards them. So one of the things I would say about the first round of the tournament, there's a lot of anxiety. I thought we were very anxious. And the perfect example is we started the game with Norchad Omier shooting a 3. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? And then Isaiah throwing a pass the length of the court that going out of bounds. He hasn't thrown that pass all year long. Then he tries to go one-on-one, dribbles into traffic, and he's got 3 guys guarding him and still forces up a shot. We didn't play the way we wanted to play to begin the game. We were playing out of character. But I think you got to give Drake credit for that. You know, they're a very good defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in the country. They guarded us very well. And we guarded them very well. It was a heck of a defensive matchup. We held them to 26 points in the second half, 1 point in the last 4 minutes. So both teams rose to the occasion of, hey, we're not having great shooting nights. You know, Tucker DeVries is a great shooter. He went 1 for 13. Those things happen in the NCAA tournament. It's hard to predict. You don't think they will, but because of the enthusiasm, the energy level, the anxiousness, you know, guys, I wouldn't call it nervousness as much as they're overly excited. They're too psyched up.
Right there, and then to row 7 from her.
Abigail Rebel, Times Union. What effect do you think surviving a close game in the first round has on the team?
Okay, could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What effect do you think surviving a close first round game has on the team?
I hope really good. I hope that makes our guys feel like I've told them that all these games are close. Every team is really good. They checked out all the scores. You know, you see what FDU did and FAU did, what Furman did to Virginia. I mean, those crazy things happen, but they happen because the games are so closely contested. The game is close. And every possession has a lot of value. And you've got to play great defense and great offense to finish out a really close game. And we were able to do that last night, and hopefully be able to do it tomorrow.
Jim, Todd Golden with CNHI. You mentioned some of the issues that came up last night, but you do have an old backcourt, and they have experienced success. They probably carried you through in the end yesterday. How does their experience kind of flow through to the rest of the team, and how do they handle their leadership as experienced guards?
Yeah, I don't consider them old. Me, I'm old, but not my players. They're experienced. So what that means is they've been through these battles before, and their ability to compete at this level, it's the highest level of college basketball. It's reduced right now. How many teams left? Like 32? How many?
31. Yeah.
Oh, someone played. So it's great competition. And with our senior guard, well, Isaiah's a senior. Nigel's actually like a sophomore. He's a third-year sophomore. And Woga Poplar's a regular sophomore. So we're not as old as Drake was. But I think our guys play with a great deal of confidence because yesterday was our 33rd game of the season, and they've been bonding and developing that team chemistry on and off the court since the summertime. So I'm very, very confident in them. They know exactly how we want them to play, but they know the opponent's going to try to keep us from doing that.
Aiden Jolly, Daily Gazette. Isaiah Wong has only been held to single-digit points one time in back-to-back games this season. That being said, how much confidence does it give you that he'll be able to bounce back tomorrow?
Well, I've been coaching Isaiah for 4 years. I love every minute of it. When he was a freshman, he practiced and played so hard, and he's done that for 4 straight years. He just shows up every single day in practice and every single game and gives it his best effort. There are games where he's held under double figures, but he was ACC Player of the Year for a reason. He had a sensational year leading us to the ACC regular season co-championship. And he's a third-team All-American because of what he's been able to produce on the court. And, you know, great players don't always have great games. And I'm very, very confident he'll have a great game tomorrow.
Coach Paul Snyder, the Montauk Sun, the way you closed out that game yesterday with the 10-0 run in the last 2 minutes, you're preaching defense and rebounding to win this game tomorrow. Do you think you're going to have to keep this game low scoring and just pound away at them with your defense and your rebounding?
No, I don't think that way at all. I believe that our best offense is transition. Indiana likes to run. We like to run. If you look at our stats, even without Norchad Omier, we scored 78 points against a very fine defensive Duke team a week ago. Is that a week? Like 8 days ago. All right. So I believe our guys are very, very capable of running against anybody in the country. The whole key is we want to run. We want to keep them from running. All right. We want to slow them down and force them to play a half-court game at one end while we get out and transition at the other end.
Coach Mike Schumann with the Daily Hoosier. You and Mike Woodson have both been around for a while in the business. I'm just curious if your paths have crossed anywhere along the way here.
Not personally, not professionally. We haven't competed against each other, but obviously I know him first as a player. He's a fantastic player at Indiana, terrific NBA player, terrific NBA coach. He was with the Knicks. My son, Jay, who's now with the Los Angeles Clippers. He was with the Knicks organization for a while. I don't know how well they know each other either, but we obviously have a tremendous amount of respect for him and his staff, and look forward to competing and get to know him.
Hey, Coach. Luke Cheney with Life Followed Sports. Just what stands out to you about Jalen Hood-SCHIFINO and the rest of Indiana's guards?
Jalen, I try to recruit him. I love this game. You know, he's 6'6". He plays the point. He can score off the bounce. He can shoot the three. He uses ball screens very effectively. He's just a very good big guard, freshman of the year in the Big Ten. And he's just much bigger than our guards. So he'll be a handful for us tomorrow.
Jim, Tom Canavan with the Associated Press. It seems there are different ways to win. I mean, you look at Xavier yesterday, they had their 2 best players arguing with each other. You guys have a kind of like a huddle at the last TV timeout. I mean, what is it about, you know, different ways to win? Is it just a team unity or I don't know what? How?
Well, the way I would explain my philosophy, what I preach to our players is complaining is a negative. And you don't want to be complaining. You don't want any negativity. Everything needs to be positive. We're playing bad. We're missing shots. We're turning it over. Pull together. And if you pull together, you can work things out. If you pull apart, chances are you're not going to enjoy the result. So for us and our players, we've had great senior leadership. A guy like Jordan Miller really called that huddle and talked to the team. Hey, we got to play our best right now. Pick up the defensive effort. Let's stop these guys and see if we can go on a run. And that's what they did.
We have time for one more after
Just one
this.
quick follow-up. When you get a close game like that, does it force your team to refocus and say, we can be gone at any minute?
Well, I think they knew that at that time, and we felt like the game was slipping away. We were down 8 and not playing particularly well at either end of the floor. And again, you got to give Drake a lot of credit for that. we're not familiar with them. They're not familiar with us, but they were basically outplaying us for a good portion of the game. But what ends up happening is you have to rise to the occasion, to the challenge, to the competition, and find a way. And our guys just found a way.
Sports. You mentioned before the season that something that really stood out from last season's Elite Eight run was that the team never gave up. After last night's come from behind win, just what does it mean to you to be on a team that's so resilient and that, as you said, never gives up?
My teammates just are great players, great people. And I know that, they never given up last year. And, I think this year, after they tasting the run to the Elite Eight, they want more. And, I want to join them on that journey too. So, yeah, I'm just happy to be on this team.
Second row.
I have the microphone. Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. I'm wondering if can I ask to all three of them questions?
Yes,
Is that okay?
please.
Yeah. Okay.
Start on the far left.
Yeah, if all three of you could talk about the specific challenges that IU pose. I mean, you've had a chance now a little bit to switch over to your new opponent. What is it? And specifically also for Norchad, having to cover a guy like Trace Jackson Davis, what do you think that's going to be like?
Norchad, you can start.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana is a really good team. And, we know they guys Trace Jackson Davis. We know that they coming to him almost every possession, and he's just gonna be a big challenge for me. I'm excited for it. If I'm being honest, I'm waiting for it, and he's a great player. That's all I can say about it.
I see, a lot of, their play style is unique. They like to give it a trace a lot, and, they have perimeter shooters as well. So I feel like, the challenge is, taking away that paint and forcing them to do a lot of their weaknesses. And, I'm excited for this game tomorrow.
Like they said, they're a really good team. Great all around, good guards, great big men. So we have to be ready for tomorrow.
Okay.
Norchad, way back here. Sorry. You had a game to play on your ankle. How comfortable do you feel, and how does it help, to kind of go through a game when you have had an injury to kind of get used to it?
Like how you said, I just got to keep getting used to it. It's something new to me, but I'm feeling great if I'm being honest.
Right here. Yes.
With the Associated Press. This is for Harlond and Bensley. Last year, you guys had a tough first round game against, I think, USC. And it seemed after that you kind of refocused. I mean, did you guys go home last night and talk about, we can't play like this and continue on?
Yeah, go first.
Of course we did. We have an identity. Our identity is packing the paint, scoring well on offense, sharing the ball. And we knew we fell short of that yesterday, but at this time of the year, survive and advance. And we were grateful and excited that we do get to advance. So tomorrow we got to just put our best foot forward, play like ourselves, and be comfortable.
Right, left in the back. You had your hand up. Okay, we'll come back over here, row 3.
Adam Zagoria, New York Times. Norchad, I just want to ask you about the name, image, and likeness, NIL stuff. I know foreign overseas players can't benefit from that. Are you able to do anything when you're outside of the U.S. NIL-wise? Like I know Oscar from Kentucky was able to do some stuff. And do you think it's unfair that foreign players can't benefit from NIL?
Yeah, I do think it's a little unfair that we really can't do nothing out here. No, but right now I'm really not thinking about it. I'm worried about the games coming up, and, that's what we focus on. I think me and my team can agree on that.
Could you follow up with that on the mic?
Sorry, are you able to do anything when you're outside of the United States with that?
Yeah. I get to do this a little bit when I went back home on vacations.
In Nicaragua?
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate at all on what you're able to do? Or
I really don't want to talk about that.
Okay, then we'll go right here.
Okay, Michelle Kaufman again from the Miami Herald. Bensley, can you talk about Nijel Pack and what he's meant to the team? It kind of took him a little while to adjust from a shooting guard to a point guard position, and the game that he had last night. What has he meant to the team and his adjustment to the new role? Thank you.
He's a lot. I mean, he's our leader. He's the starting point guard out there, kind of orchestrating guys everywhere. And, he's a big time shooter. And yesterday he stepped up big time when we needed him. And, he was able to execute plays down the stretch. And, he's a big part of this team, a big part of this journey. And, I'm excited to see him keep thriving with us.
With, last night being your tournament debut, just how was that for you?
It was really good. I had fun. I'm glad we got the win. My teammates are just amazing, as you can see. And we're looking forward to keep pushing it on forward.
Norchad, Tom Bruce, Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. I was just curious how you got through last night's game health-wise. I know you had some question marks coming into it. And then secondly, what you've seen so far on film with Trayce Jackson-Davis and the biggest challenges he presents for you.
Yeah, I mean, how I mentioned before, he's a great player. I think not just me, but my teammates know that Indiana run offense through him, and we got to pack the paint. How they say they have great shooters, so it's not just Trey Jackson. They have a lot of good players, so that we just got to play our defense, play our identity, pack the paint, and do what we do.
Second row again up here, and then
Michelle Kaufman again from Miami Herald. Your team this year has really been known as a team that's very calm and composed and makes good decisions, a lot of sharing of the ball. What do you think happened last night? I mean, you had a miraculous comeback, but what do you think happened? Why did the team start off so slow, do you think?
I felt like we got a little rushed. We were playing into Drake's game a lot, and we were able to, slow down and take our time, take a deep breath. And, I felt like we were able to execute that down the play, but we did make some, key mistakes, and they took advantage of that. But, we came out of the timeout and, we huddled, we talked together, we took a deep breath, and, we told each other we've been here before. And, credit to all the team guys on the bench, lifting us up, and we were able to go out there for the last 4 minutes and make things happen.
Yes, follow up. Go ahead.
About that little conversation you guys had, I know that Jordan gathered everyone around, and then Nijel said too that, you all at that moment at the last media timeout, there was kind of a little powwow there where you all talked about, we're not going to let it end this way. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? How important was that particular moment of leadership?
It was really important. I mean, it was Norchad and Jordan, kind of going back and forth on what to do. And I kind of looked at them and like, guys, boys down the stretch. We've been here before. Let's just take a big, deep breath. And, we were able to do that. We were able to go out there for those 4 minutes, apply some pressure, and come out with a victory.
Right side.
And Tom Canavan with the AP again. I guess there are different ways to win, because you can look at teams like Xavier, and two of their star guys are at each other's throat, and then they come back and win. And you guys look like you were dead in the water and come back and win. What is it that allows a team to reach inside itself and find a way?
Practice, really. You with the guys every day for how many years, everybody's strengths and weaknesses. So just being able to have that friendship on and off the court, I think it really allows people to pull together in moments like brothers fight, brothers make up. So just having that time spent with each other, I feel like that trust is kind of inevitable.
Rebel Times Union, sort of to follow up on her earlier question, what do you guys need to do to bounce back from yesterday's offensive performance?
I think we just need to play our game and, stick to our principles from day one. Don't try to play, on our own, and play like what our identity is, play together, share the ball. That's all about it.
Mike Schumann with the Daily Hoosier. This could be for any of you guys. I'm just curious of what you've seen of Indiana so far. Is there any team that you played along the way this season that they kind of remind you of?
I've seen a lot, but really the focus is, Trayce Jackson-Davis and not letting him be so comfortable at what he does so great. And then, looking out and closing out on their shooters from the perimeter. And, their freshman point guard, Jalen Hood, he's really good. So, just applying pressure and making them force mistakes. But, we've been here before. We've battled teams like this. So I feel like, it's just another day, another game to battle as hard as we can and, try to advance.
Ben, I wanted to ask a follow-up about Jalen. Just, what about him and what about Indiana's guards really stand out to you?
Jalen's really good. He likes to get to his spots really, really. He's crafty and, he's a big guard. He's about 6'6". So, and he's strong. So, just applying a lot of pressure and making him feel uncomfortable, making him, do his weaknesses, like I said, and, hopefully we can shut him down the whole 40 minutes to get a victory.